Happy week 2 of the semester, everyone. I hope your second week is going very well. You're starting to get the swing of things and how the class is organized. So tomorrow, just a reminder that your application to discussion, your initial post is due. Don't forget that in order to earn all of those points, you need to post a question and respond to 2 other students' posts. And just a heads up, I would like for question 1, when you're labeling the image, I want you to actually label the image. So you can use text boxes and paste it into the image, or you can use texts with arrows. And that way you're like pointing to something in the image, and be specific. Don't just say, this is the epithelial layer. Tell me what type of epithelium it is. Is it simple? Is it stratified? Is it squamous, cuboidal, columnar? I want you to be able to tell the difference by these, tell the differences between these types of epithelial tissues when we're looking at diagrams. So don't be surprised on your exam if you do see a diagram. Anatomy and physiology is extremely visual. So I want to make sure that we're comfortable looking at these figures and being able to identify those structures. So speaking of, I thought of kind of introducing 161 in a little bit of a different way, because the topic this week of epithelial tissue and connective tissue kind of opens the door to basically the rest of the course. So I made a quick little presentation slideshow thing to kind of show you what the overview of the course looks like. And then I also put in here some little things you can do to study to prepare for your first exam. I know the first exam seems like, it's way far away, but make sure that you are studying and staying on top of the material. Don't let it get on top of you and overwhelm you. You want to make sure that you're doing a little bit of work either each day, every other day, but that you've got some sort of schedule going on so you can, just make sure that you're not feeling too overwhelmed. I know with World Campus, it can be hard. You're not in class every day or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, what have you. So it can be hard to feel accountable, accountable to someone, accountable to yourself, for like doing the work, because no one's checking in and watching over you. So that's why we have things due throughout the week to keep you engaged. So anyway, just wanted to throw that little bug in your ear to get you thinking about, the rest of January. So I'm going to share my screen and go through this. Okay. So 161 could be broken down into 4 tissue types that we're going to spend the entire course talking about. The first that we're looking at today is epithelial tissue, right? That was the topic for this week. We've also looked at connective tissue. Both of these topics are going to come up again in the future. When we talk about the skin, we'll talk about epithelial tissue, connective tissue, again, with skin, but we'll also look at it when we talk about bone and cartilage. Both of those are types of connective tissue, believe it or not. So we will come back to connective tissue. Then next, neural tissue. We have a whole component of the course devoted to the nervous system. So we'll be talking about neural tissue, as well as like the divisions of the nervous system. And then we end the course with the muscular system. So really bounce between, epithelial, connective. We'll get to neural tissue. We'll go back to connective to talk about bone and cartilage. And we'll, again, talk about muscular as well. So it all ties together under this neat umbrella of talking about tissue types. So for our first task, we're looking at epithelial tissue. Now remember, oops, I have a very sensitive mouse. Remember, we can think about epithelial tissue based on the number of layers that the epithelial tissue has. So simple has a single layer and stratified has multiple layers. Then both simple and stratified epithelial tissues have squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. So we could have simple squamous, simple cuboidal, stratified squamous, stratified cuboidal. So they're all listed here and underneath both of these larger headings. What I've done here is left blank boxes. I'd like you to draw in, or if you don't have the ability to draw in, find images of what these tissues look like under histological slides. So there's a cute cartoon that's on your page of epithelial tissues. You could drag and drop those pictures in to organize them, but I highly recommend drawing them if you can, and if you can't, finding pictures that you haven't seen before that fit the simple squamous, simple cuboidal, etc. I also put in the shapes that these form. So the word squamous just means flat. So squamous cells are all flat cells. So squamous epithelial cells are flat epithelial tissue. Cuboidal have a square cube shape, you might have noticed that. And then columnar have these long skinny columns. In histological slides, you'll see a darker dot in the middle of the cell, and those are the nuclei. So sometimes you can look at the nuclei and see how far apart they are. If you see just a single row of nuclei, we're looking at simple epithelial tissue. If you see multiple nuclei stacked on top of each other, it's stratified. They're very close together. They're going to be squamous. A little bit further apart, you can start to see a cubey shape, cuboidal. And then if they're further apart, those nuclei are spread more, and we get these column shapes to them, then we're looking at stratified columnar. Okay, so just a little activity, fill in the boxes. There we go. Animations. So for connective tissue, we have connective tissue proper, and we're going to be looking at loose or dense. We have supportive connective tissue, and this should have said a different type altogether. Hold on. I have, oops, a video or a picture that's super helpful for this. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Fluid connective tissue and supporting connective or supportive connective tissue. So for our connective tissue proper, like I said, we have loose and dense. So again, with these boxes, I wanted you to draw in what they look like. Try to find images that show areolar versus adipose versus reticular. Think about, what makes loose connective tissue different from dense connective tissue. And so for dense, we can have dense regular or dense irregular. Those are the two main types that we'll be talking about and focusing on in this course. These connective tissues will come up again and again throughout the course. So it'll be a really good idea to be able to tell the differences between them. And really what it comes down to is the fibers and the framework that they make. The fibers are loose, the fibers are dense. Again, take a look at some pictures, see if you can draw some stuff in. List examples where these are found. Really try to get, hey buddy, really try to get a handle on these, comparing and contrasting these differences. So supportive connective tissues are things like bone and cartilage. So we'll talk about that at the end of the course. And then this should say fluid connective tissues are blood and lymph. And so blood and lymph are types of connective tissue, and those will be talked about in the 163 course. So if you take 163, either on the University Park campus or in World's campus, you'll talk about the blood much more, and a little bit about lymph as well. So for the connective tissue proper, remember we have a gel-like matrix. Right, remember those slides and pictures of the matrix and the components of the matrix. The connective tissue proper has a gel-like matrix. The supportive connective tissues have solid matrix. So these are cartilage and bone. They're solid, very stable. And then fluid connective tissues have a fluid matrix, which makes them fluid, liquid, what have you. So anyway, I just wanted to pop in here real quick, say hi again, and wish you a happy rest of your week 2. We've got a lot of assignments due, stuff tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. So I'll be popping in and out. And don't forget, I've posted your presentation groups so you can see what you're working on and what your topic is. So email me Dia or Casey if you have any questions whatsoever. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. All right, bye.